Hello and Happy New Year. Rob Morales, Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes about 30 minutes. We're here to talk about Phoenix housing and the things we got going on in the Phoenix market. Again, my name is Robert Morales, RCO Network, coming at you live every Monday to talk about housing, buy, sell, investing, all that good stuff regarding the Phoenix housing market. I'm flying solo today. Miss Ashley Miller, Great American Title, could not be here today. She sends her regards to everybody who's watching. So I'm going to cheers myself. That's I'm solo today, so not Han, just regular solo. So I did want to start off a little bit today. I think there's so many predictions out there, and there's so many prediction shows between the last 4 weeks, everything that I've been looking at as far as housing goes, where the market's going. And the true answer is nobody really knows. You can only predict based on what the past was. In the last 2 years in this market, especially Phoenix, it's been kind of a shit show. I mean, that's the brunt truth of things. And so predicting how the Phoenix market's going to go, I don't know entirely either, but I do have my own, ideas and my own perspectives on how things are going to go. So that's what I'm here to bring to you today. So we may not get a full 30 minutes, but there are some interesting points that I want to bring to you guys. But the new thing with this year, so if you guys are in the market and you were limited, I think particularly FHA, but if you were limited regarding your loan status or how much you could borrow to buy a house, that has changed a little bit. So those limits have been increased. So I'm going to go ahead and put those up real quick here. Thank you, Miss Kelsey Rognes, Suburban Mortgage, for providing the information that I'm sharing here, if Kelsey's watching. So the new loan limits have increased. So if you are conforming conventional loan, previously it was around 540, and now you're about 647. FHA previously was about 344, something like that. Now it's 441. So obviously the loan limits have increased regarding our market conditions and kind of everything that's been going on this last year. The inflation and increase in prices, just we need to borrow more apparently. So loan limits. So hey, yay. Yeah. Where was I going to go from that? It's so much more challenging to do this on your own because I'm basically talking into a camera. But I'm going to go to the next thing too. So with loan limits, that got me thinking into other areas of our Phoenix housing market, and I did come across a couple articles that I did want to share with you guys. Sun City, let's see. The breadbasket states. So the Sun Belt cities have the highest, sharpest decline in housing affordability over the past year. Not prices, this is affordability. So this is comparing labor or employment to your ability to buy a house in these states. And Phoenix topped number one. So if you scroll down to the middle of the article a little bit here, Phoenix topped out at the worst market for affordability. And this is comparing prices of homes to how much somebody makes. Did I skip that? I think I missed. So we're not able to afford our own houses here in Phoenix, which is, kind of sad. So if you've lived here previously and you were saving up to buy that home, if you were a Phoenician, Phoenix resident, Arizona resident, and you wanted to buy your home, it's become less affordable over these past couple of years. And so I think this is more reflective to the over asking prices, the people coming in from out of state and purchasing homes and pushing up those price points way beyond the affordability index. And so in that, you can no longer, at least 33% can't buy a home anymore. But as challenging as that is, there is always opportunity. So don't give up, don't lose heart. You're going to somehow we're gonna get there together. So again, if you're watching me here, Ashley is not here today, so kind of sad. It is kind of weird to be here all lonesome. Actually, I'm not alone. There's Angela's back here. She's watching me make a fool out of myself.
You are doing wonderful, yes!
I got my own cheer squad. But again, we're here to talk about Phoenix housing. So as I was exploring kind of the topics to talk about today, one of the things that got to my attention, at least another article or information that I received was tax rates. So with the increase, in housing, the prices of houses, that also increases our assessments for taxes. And if you look at how much we're paying in taxes, it will increase. I mean, if you bought a house and you paid over asking and you overbid, by 50, 60, 100,000, Oh, guess what? Next year there's a new reassessment in that. So with the housing market going up in prices, also your taxes will go up. Possibly even your insurance. I don't know about that. I do know the percentage of your the price of your home. The percentage of that is assessed in taxes. So I wanted to show an article real quick. This is a map. A heat map of different tax rates in different areas. And the worst tax rate is in New Jersey. If you can see can you see that right there? New Jersey at 2.13% in taxes yearly. Yeah, that is crazy. Illinois came in at 1.97. I think that's number 2. Number 6 is Texas. That's right there, 1.6%. Arizona is 39th. We're one of the lowest or lower states at 0.6%. So if you look at tax rates, buying a $450,000 house in New Jersey, let's see. I don't know if I can. If you buy a $450,000 house in New Jersey and your annual tax rate is 2.13%, you're looking at about just under $9,500 or around $9,500 in taxes per year. And then if your home value has gone up $100,000 in just a year or a couple of years, you're looking at about a $2,000 increase per year. So in Arizona, if looking at these taxes again, in Arizona, it's not going to be as impactful. Year over year, if you were paying $450, if you bought a house at $450 and it's reassessed at $550 a year later at 0.6%, you're looking at about $600 increase in your taxes a year, which is not $2,000. So a $600 increase in Arizona for $100,000 more is roughly about $50 more in your payment a month. So we're not going to see it. Other states will. I know Texas will. So if you bought a house in Texas, you overpaid, you bought a $500,000, $1 million house, you're definitely going to be paying in taxes on that property. So that's something to keep in mind as if you've purchased a home in the last year, a couple of years, just know that you're going to be paying a little bit more in taxes. Fun stuff. This is the fun stuff about real estate that we don't really talk about too much, but this is a reality what we're facing. So. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and drop those in. Again, it's kind of weird being here without Ashley, but Angela's here, my cheer squad. She's eating currently, watching me. The next thing I wanted to go to was another article I found too, very interesting. It's not so much about the article because it talks about, I'll put it up real quick. It does talk about vacation markets, luxury markets. The one thing that I liked about this article though, if you scroll down and you read a little bit more, as you get into it, it talks about the emotions. At purchasing a home. Right now, there's so many emotions regarding, buying, and if you're moving from out of state or if you're just moving in period, your landlord is increasing rent, you're in $400 or $500 from the last year, and you're like, I can't do this payment. Maybe purchasing a house is an option. The emotional part about it's very challenging to not get too emotional about buying something so significant as a house. We go our whole lives looking to purchase a home. I mean, that's the one thing that we save, our money for, that we save, years for, and then we build our credit up to. The primary thing is always that house. The secondary thing is that car, but the house is that goal, that one life goal that most people have, and it does talk about the emotions. And in this market right now, this crazy market that we're in, it's so competitive and it gets so emotional. Sometimes we buy houses just to buy a house. And it really shouldn't be that way. It really should be something that you spend time in. It's an investment. On another side, it's an emotional investment. It's where you raise your family, or you potentially have a life with somebody there. A house is a very emotional thing, and right now, because of this competition, because we're so emotional about just getting a house, that sometimes we buy stuff that I wouldn't say regret, but definitely second guess ourselves later on in the future. So the emotions are somewhat high in this environment. So that's something I want you to be very conscious of when you're purchasing a home, and having that kind of person in your life that's the dissenting opinion, or at least that third party to help you navigate through that's most beneficial in this market. So if you go back to that article, that it's Mansion Global, go back there. He talks about just different trends and stuff. But again, what I pulled out of this was more the emotional part of that. Don't make emotional decisions. We make too many emotional decisions as it is. It's just who we are as people. So as we move forward, as I was getting into that article, there was a sub-article in there that we talk about buyers all the time. Right now, this isn't an environment necessarily that's buyer-friendly. We talk more about like how to navigate it and purchase a home, but little have we touched upon selling a home. And this weekend alone, I picked up another listing, but I've gotten a number of calls looking at potentially putting their house on the market, wanting to know what rates are. I think a lot of people feel and have a good feeling that this is the top of the market. I believe it is, but what do I know? Again, I just I run off feelings. I look at reports and then I base my decisions based off of those reports. But everything is a feeling. When I bought my condo about 5 years ago, I thought I was buying at the top of the market then. And little did I know 5 years later, I'm like nearly tripling what I made in my investment then. So you just don't know at the end of the day. But I do have a feeling that there's gonna be some change here. There's the affordability in this market isn't there, and people coming from out of state, people who are working out of state, are kind of aggravating these prices. That's just my belief, and that based on what I read. But again, going back to selling, I've gotten a number of calls, and I wanted to kind of go over these with you guys. These are 20 home renovations that will hurt your home's value. I did want to go. Some of them are interesting. Whenever I look at a house, the first thing I look at is the kitchen. That is the heart of a home. Absolutely. If you don't have an upgraded kitchen, if it's from when you first bought it, 40 years ago, and you haven't done anything in the kitchen, that's probably going to hurt the most value. But I found this article a little interesting because they mention a little bit more than that. So we'll kind of go over them together. And if you want to chime in, you can chime in at any time on any of these. But kitchens for me are the primary. I can sell a home. I can sell a really not so great home with a really updated kitchen. But these are just some things that they put together as far as like diminishing the value of your home. So lavish light fixtures. I do agree on this. If you spend anything more than several hundred, if you go in there thinking that your $20,000 chandelier is going to get you $20,000 in value, no. Unfortunately, no. Your taste is not somebody else's taste. And at the end of the day, you just want somebody to feel emotionally connected to the home. And if you have one of those very like religious items, or if you have those things that are just really kind of sticking out there, chandeliers being one of them, like these really elegant crystal chandeliers, that unfortunately you may find value in that, but other people might not. So plain and simple is kind of the way to go. But I did find that kind of funny in this article. Too much wallpaper, absolutely. I have been in so many houses that have way too much wallpaper. Having wallpaper is still kind of nice. Especially if it's a good print, if it's very basic, not too crazy, not too extravagant maybe. It's just very plain. It can accent something very nicely, and at a very minimal cost. You don't have to put up tile, do all these things. But too much wallpaper for sure. I think that's pretty much a given, especially your grandma's wallpaper from 40 years ago. Texture on walls and ceilings, not so much. I don't believe. I mean, there have been some houses that are just over textured, like these big clumps of whatever they were trying to do. It could be nice on an accent wall, but definitely not all over the place. But I don't know. I haven't come across that too often. Quirky tiling kind of goes back to the wallpaper. I mean, having what I see as a trend right now, and you probably see it in a lot of websites, is like those decorative tiles they put in the bathrooms. Kind of almost Middle East, like Indian style, like floral kind of stuff, floral print. That's kind of trendy right now in bathrooms. Those are somewhat dated, so sometimes finding something very plain, just a plain color, will help in resale. If you're mindful of like, I want to sell this house in 20 years, for sure, or or a house that you want to keep forever. If it's your forever home, you could do whatever you want to it. But plain and simple, if it's an investment, you want to flip it in just a couple of years. Plain and simple is always better, always. So going back to the list, too much carpeting, absolutely. I hate carpet. I have grown to, especially pulling out carpet out of the house I just bought back in October. I despise carpet. No bueno.
And also with the weather of Arizona, who's going to decide to have carpet with the hot weather in Arizona?
The voice from the deep has spoken. What was that? What did you say?
Also,
Yeah.
With the weather of Arizona in the summer, who wants to have a carpet in the apartment or in the house?
Nobody wants carpet.
Exactly.
Nobody wants carpet. Hi, Angela. Hi. She's not on the show. We didn't plan it, but she's the voice of reason. She's the voice behind the curtain. So going back to the list, bright and bold colors. Going just a simple, plain color and using accent colors, stuff that you can take down. Like accent pillows. Stick with that. Accent candles, decor. If you want to fill a house with color, don't do it on the wall. I think it's really the thing. Don't paint it all yellow and expect everybody to like yellow, because I've seen some really bad yellow. I've seen some really nice like pastels, very 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 like not abrasive colors, not very bright, just very subtle colors. Pastels work really well if you're going to go a color. But I'd say the whole trend of like painting each room different colors is gone. Don't even go there. Other stuff that people do, and unfortunately it kind of bites them a little bit. I did find this of value. So people like to spend money in their kitchen, yes, and there will be items that people purchase in a home, and you have to take into account, like if you're one thing. So it talks about extremely high-end kitchen. If you're going to put money, yes, absolutely put it in your kitchen, but don't overdo it for the market that you're in. So if you buy a Wolf stove, those Wolf stoves can be anywhere from like 12 to 15,000 just by themselves. A Sub-Zero refrigerator can be anywhere up to 15 to 20,000 by itself. If you're in a $300,000 market, nobody cares about your $20,000 Sub-Zero refrigerator. You might care about it, but it's just a refrigerator at that point. If you're looking into the luxury market and you're putting 60,000, that's probably a low end kitchen, as far as like 60,000 in $1 million home. So and what it says too is that the value of a kitchen on average was about 40,000 for resale. I don't know what price points they're looking at. 40,000 for a kitchen seems a little low, especially if you do a complete kitchen remodel. But definitely kind of pay attention to those things. Like I was actually looking at it's one of those fume hoods that goes down. It's like a cabinet fume hood. It's not over the range. It's in the cabinet and like comes up like freaking Batman, and it like sucks in all the flames and stuff, or all the smoke from the kitchen countertop, which is to alleviate from that head hood. Because we want to open up the kitchen is really what we're trying to do. And when you have that big fume hood coming down, it kind of obstructs the view. So I looked and found these like fume hoods that come from the countertop. They insert and come up and down. They're really cool, but they're also $6,000. And so I would probably, for me, if it was a forever home, probably lean that way. But since it's kind of more investment, we're only living there a couple of years and then eventually renting it out, I probably don't need to go that far. FYI. So I found that extremely helpful. So out of the 20 on that list, I found that helpful. A couple other ones too. Luxury bathroom. Don't overdo it with the bathroom. Bathrooms are bathrooms. I think there is some upgrading that needs to happen, especially if you're going from like some sort of vinyl to ceramic tile or porcelain tile, I should say. If you have one of those fiberglass tubs and you want to do a cast iron, there are certain things that you want to pay attention to, but don't overdo it in the bathrooms. If there was money to be spent, it'd be more in kitchen, I guess, if you're going to go crazy, because that's really what people see. Home office conversion. So what's a big trend right now, and again, because of the whole viral thing and everybody working from home, is to convert like a fourth bedroom or a den into a whole home office. Maybe not so much a den, but definitely a bedroom where you're converting everything. You install all these like desks and things. Don't overdo it. Try to do something more loose. So a loose desk. Installing outlets, that's what the article kind of talks about, installing extra things and doing all this extravagant things. It doesn't really bring back the value because a lot of people just want a bedroom. The big one on this list, I think it's the next one. Hold on, let me see. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, I guess this is included in this. So combining bedrooms. I've seen this. I had a friend of mine who had a 4-bedroom house that converted one of the bedrooms into like a whole walk-in closet. So what they did is they closed up one side of the door and they opened up to the master and had this big walk-in closet, which looked awesome actually. And it was a smart move, I think, just to kind of give the house a little bit, more oomph. And he did it in a very good way, but for the most part, do not combine bedrooms. You're losing anywhere from like $10,000 to $20,000 in value from losing a bedroom to gaining a closet that's only like, worth $2,000. And I'm talking about building materials, resale value. I'm not talking about like how much it would be to install it. To install a closet like that, to do all that may cost like $10,000 to $20,000 to do, but really the resale value is only going to be between 2 to 5, unfortunately. So talk to your real estate guy. Call me if you need to. But talk to anybody about what that means. If you're going to eliminate a room, if you're going to combine rooms, removing closets is the next one. That's what I was getting to before. Do not remove a closet. Adding a closet is a tremendous value. Taking a den, taking a den and making it a bedroom will increase the value. So a den in itself, on an average home in Phoenix, is roughly between $3,000 to $5,000 in value. But if you convert that into a bedroom, it changes it from about $10,000 to $15,000. So if you're going to do anything, install a closet. Do not remove a closet. It's as simple and as small as it is. Tremendous value when it's a bedroom versus a den. FYI, that's a big thing. Mark that. Put a pin in that. Do not get rid of that closet. Oh boy. Sunroom edition. I don't know who does this.
What you have to remove is all the dirty clothes and all the things that you don't use.
Remove your dirty clothes.
Well, it's New Year, so it's time to renew also the closet, So get rid of all the old stuff that you don't use. Donate.
Donate your old clothes. Do not get rid of the closet. Get rid of the clothes. Oh boy. Anyway, so I was going back to the sunroom thing. So this is talking about doing a sunroom. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would do a sunroom in Arizona. I've seen them here, but the reason they're usually hotter. And they're enclosed rooms like on a patio, and why somebody would do that without air conditioning or venting, I don't know. I could see like the fly nets, the mosquito stuff. Do not close that off, but do not put windows and enclose a whole sunroom because you're begging for trouble because it gets so hot in those things, especially in the summer. If you are let's see, where am I at? If you're an east facing house and your backyard faces west, do not do a sunroom because you're going to get the full sun and it's just going to be hot in there. You're going to be miserable. You're never going to use it. So, is that? Did I emphasize a point too much there? Do not do a sunroom. And
it's important because for us that we don't know that we are learning, it's always important to get that kind of information. Thank you so much for that.
The voice from behind. Thank you, Angela. So the last few things on here: build an aquarium. Do not build an aquarium. You can do it for yourself. Do a small one. Do a little fishbowl. Do not build an aquarium. They take a lot of work. I've had one. No. Built-in high electronics. That's kind of a given. A swimming pool is interesting. Now with a swimming pool, I would say if you want a swimming pool, buy a house with a swimming pool. Do not install a swimming pool. So my biggest life lesson, and this is a big life lesson, I spent on my rental home. This was several years ago, like in 2007, 8, before the crash. I spent nearly $75,000 in my backyard for a pool. It had everything, right? I didn't have to clean nothing. It had the pop-ups, had the UV system. Didn't have to do anything. I pretty much just sat there. I didn't even have to brush the sides. And part of having a pool is that, you don't want to do anything. But putting in that pool, installing it was $75,000. The resale value on that thing was only about $25,000. Do not install a pool. And if you are, that's fine. I mean, again, if you're doing it for yourself, but if you want a pool, buy a house with a pool because then the previous owner is going to eat all the cost of that, and you're going to gain because obviously you bought it at the resale price, not at the new price. So do not install a pool. That does not help you as far as value, and it does explain that in the article too. Hot tub, again, I don't know who buys these things. I see this more in the 55 plus communities. Everybody, you don't want to spend the money on a spa, like an in-ground spa. So then you end up buying a hot tub. Those things, don't do it. Don't buy a hot tub. They have no resale value whatsoever. Everybody's like, oh, it comes with a hot tub. I see people spending more money getting rid of those things than really installing them. They spend so much money to get them, the water, then you have to treat it the same way. I mean, you might as well just get a pool. If you're going to do that. But that's just my opinion. Don't listen to me. Hot tubs don't really do anything. Nobody cares about hot tubs, and people hate cleaning them. I hate cleaning pools. And this is another good one too. If you guys have anything that the top tips, these are 20 tips of selling a house that you shouldn't do or spend money in. So I just want to reiterate that. I think I thought we were coming to the end, but we have actually a few more. Another trend that I'm seeing right now in selling is people promoting their in-home gyms. They convert their garage into a gym, which again works if it works for you. I've seen some really cool ones. I've seen some really cool ones where it's a third car garage and they convert that third piece in that. And they drill holes into the foundation, which you really shouldn't do, especially if it's post tension. If you go in your garage and you go towards the edge of the door and you see a stamp that says post tension, do not drill into the slab. There are rebar that are put under tension. So if you cut into those rebar, they could snap, and I don't know. I've never seen anything like. Is there? I wonder if there's a YouTube video on somebody drilling into a post tension slab and it breaking on them. I've never seen it happen. I've just been told do not do it. So if you're creating an at-home gym, like the conversion is here, there's really no value in it because again, it could be something you want, but not necessarily something else wants. So I would say if you're going to market a home, if you're going to go sell a home, and you have an at-home gym, make sure there's not too many things attached. You know, the tonals. You know, it's really cool. My brother has a tonal, and I've been really interested in getting one myself. I didn't realize it was a subscription base, so it's like $3,000 to install, and then it's another like like 150. It's a monthly subscription, you know. And I thought that was really cool, not having weights. And I think that's appropriate. When you have a small at-home gym, you reconvert the floor to like a vinyl or something, and you throw some weights in there that are movable, and that becomes a good selling piece regarding like the listing. So the photos and putting those in there, that becomes a really cool showcase for the house. But do not install anything in the garage. Do not convert the garage over. Like really, if it's a 3-car garage, get it as close to the 3-car garage as possible. And I've seen people convert over their 3rd-car garages. Especially if the subdivision has a bunch of other houses at 3-car garages, it's going to really kind of devalue the house at the sale. But again, if you want an at-home garage, I think it's more for the photos than it really is for the reality because not everybody wants one, and nobody wants you to leave there like million weights, and that is something. It's because it's something they have to deal with, you know, especially if they're not like exercise minded. Coming to the end. We're almost at the end of the show. We're almost made it to 30 minutes. I didn't even think we were going to make it that far. The wrong landscaping investment. That's kind of a given. Beautiful, messy trees. I would say if there was anything regarding trees, I don't like oleanders. Oleander is a bush/tree people use for landscaping. It grows pretty big. It hides a lot of things, but the roots in there are just horrible. They're horrific. If you're going to use oleanders, for instance, put them in a very far place. Keep them away from walls, particularly your foundation. Keep them in a very widespread area. Those roots just go into everything, and they ruin more plumbing than anything. The house I bought in October, first thing I did was remove the oleanders in the front yard because the second oleander that was in the front was right up against the kitchen, and I already knew that over time that thing was just going to grow and like mess up everything in that kitchen. So that was the first thing I did. Got rid of that stupid thing. So if you like oleanders, I'm sorry, but I have an opinion. DIY repairs. I see this way too much. When you're trying to sell a home, you decide that, you know what, I'm going to go reinstall that tile myself. Some guy came in here and gave me a quote for $500. I can do it for $50. And you probably could. I will say that the biggest deficit in any kind of home sale is really doing the repairs yourself. There are so many instances I walk in a home and I can tell that it was not a qualified person that did it. And it shows, especially if you do it over and over again in many different areas, like in your kitchen or wherever. The recent listing they had a cracked flooring, and I did suggest that they have a professional come in and fill in the grout because you can tell when somebody professional does it. Right now, I'm remodeling my kitchen. I can tell they did not do the wiring right. It is so bad. I had to rewire about half the kitchen already. And luckily, I know myself how to do some of it. And I have friends in the industry that can help me and say, hey, you know what, you used the wrong switch or, you used the wrong conduit. I do not do it yourself. Simple as that. Especially electrical and plumbing. Do not do those yourself. I don't know too many people that do roofing, but But I think people take on projects themselves thinking that they're professional, and it really does show. So those were the top things. I'm right at 30 minutes, so I'm going to bring the last couple things that I wanted to bring to you guys real quick as I go here. So every week we look at the index report to show where we're at in the market. The demand index actually slowed up a little bit. So for some reason we slowed up on demand. That could be just seasonal between Christmas and New Year's, landing on weekends. Weekends are usually high traffic for listings. And so when you see the demand index go a little bit, it's probably due to more seasonal, but it's still high. People are still out there looking for houses, and it's still in a high market. Again, the yellow is a balanced market. So you want a more balanced market if you want it kind of fair and equal to both buyers and sellers. Supply index, the green does not mean good. Green means just we're low supply. Again, you want that kind of yellow balance between, limited supply and high supply. The high supply is a red. That means we have too many houses to sell. The green supply means we have too few houses. So you want that yellow kind of balanced market right there. The last thing I wanted to show you, and we brought this up last week. Let me get my face out of the way. Is the month supply. So keep a lookout in the next few weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, keep a lookout on our supply index. Come and follow our channel. Watch us here every week. Talk about this. But you'll see every January, third week of January, we have a spike in inventory. Right about there. See January 27th, right about there. January 26th, January 21st, you see a spike. January 23rd, you see a spike. All relatively speaking, the third week of January. You see an overall trend. We're trending down. We're losing supply. We got an uptick in supply in 2019. But then during the whole the whole viral thing, we had a little bit of a spike, and then a double spike in there because we reopened and we started, people started listing their houses again. But every year, you'll see a trend here. Every year, third week of January, we get an increase in supply. This year, we're not seeing too much of that increase. Usually see a dip in December, followed by a high increase in third week of January. So in January is the time frame in which we know where this market is going. Last year we had a double top. When if you follow investments, if you follow financing, a double top usually means a trend down, which is what happened. And you'll see here again, we're just kind of floating. We're not increasing any inventory. We're just like stagnant. And if anything, we started off January lower. Every January, we start just kind of creeping up higher. Every January, we start creeping up a little bit higher at the beginning of every month or every January. Not this month. Do I have a feeling that the market is not going to follow a good trend? Yes. I don't believe we're going to have a tremendous supply. I do have calls. People are looking at selling and interested in listing their house, but they haven't yet. And so in the next couple of weeks will be very crucial, and we'll predict how the rest of this market's going to go in the next couple of months. And this is the peak season. So the peak season happens between February to May. And so if we don't see an increased supply, we're going to have definitely more competition. We're going to have definitely increased prices. So keep an eye on that. So those buyers out there, hold strong, be optimistic, find opportunities. There are opportunities out there. So don't give up. That's all I wanted to say. Angela, are we done?
My God, it's fantastic. I have been learning so much today. And I would say yes, we miss Ashley, but we got very good information today. So, buyers, we are ready to buy your houses with all these instructions, all this info. Amazing.
We should have given her a mic. But that's the end of the show today. So, I ran solo today, and which is fine. I love rolling solo. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging to make up stuff as you go along, but hopefully the information that you got was informative, and the things that you're walking away help you make a better decision regarding your housing situation. So Robert Morales, RCO Network, back here every Monday, 2 o'clock. Hopefully Ashley will be well enough to come and join us next week and share and provide the information that we're here to do. So see you guys next week.